Is the origin of the universe and life as a result of a random chance event, spontaneous necessity, or an intelligent act of design? By chance, if the universe began from a random act of supercharged burst of energy from a fluctuating sea of energy, this could explain the origin for the universe but not its continuous existence, suitability, and sustainability for life. As we will discuss further down in this episode, one of the arguments for intelligent design is fine-tuning, and it appears the universe has been finely tuned to support life and sustain itself for a long period of time. The percentage of the universe existing and supporting life while being finely tuned is almost non-existent. In fact, it is highly impossible for the universe to appear finely tuned by chance. The challenge here is not that the universe cannot originate by chance. It is that the universe cannot continue to exist or would not exist to support life by chance. If the origin of the universe and life began by necessity, the concept of necessity calls into existence the need for a purpose and reason. There has to be a purpose and reason for anything to be considered necessary. So was it necessary for the universe to exist, be life permitting, and continue to sustain itself up until now? The answer is no. It is not necessary for the universe to be in existence. Neither is it necessary for there to be life in the universe. In fact, there is a more likely chance that the universe couldn't have support for life or exist in the first place. You see, the constants and quantities guiding the universe are not determined by the laws of nature. There is no evidence to suggest that fine-tuning of the universe is necessary. What do I mean? Take for instance the law of gravity. The existence of this natural force does not necessitate the fine-tuning or the amount of gravitational pull the Earth has to keep things from floating in space. Simply put, because there is the law of gravity does not mean the Earth should have an exact gravitational pull that would keep man moving on Earth instead of floating above Earth. If by design, it means that the origin of the universe, its continuous existence, the origin of life, and the universe conduciveness to support life was designed specifically with its properties to ensure that all of these things are possible. And if the universe was designed, it means the universe was designed by a designer far greater than the design that exists. The designer would have to know, understand, and have the ability to create the universe with its specific, precise fine-tuning in order for it to continue to sustain life. In our ongoing origin series, we have looked at the Big Bang Theory, the theory of evolution, as well as the objections and responses surrounding these theories. But in today's episode, we are going to be looking at the case for intelligent design. Welcome to AJ Sports with Ezekarel, the Unapologetics Bold Apologetics podcast. This is your space to grow in faith, defend what you believe, and respond to hard questions with wisdom and truth. Let's dive in, listen, and be edified. Let's start with some scientific arguments that comes from observations about the universe itself. The first one is the fine-tuning argument. The physical constants of the universe like gravity, speed of light, or strength of nuclear forces are so precisely balanced that even tiny changes would make life impossible in the universe. The structure of the universe suggests that the universe has been finely tuned. And this is true for large structures like galaxies and stars, and for microstructures like cells and atomic particles. This is evidenced by the mathematical and physics equations that are used for calculating various aspects of our universe, like the gravitational equation. This formula acts as fundamental constants and qualities guiding the universe. They are also known as the laws or forces of nature. Scientists have come to the realization that these equations produce numbers that have been carefully dialed up to a very, very precise value. A value that falls within a very, very narrow life permitting range. And if any one of these numbers were altered by a very, very, very microscopic amount of value, then no form of life would exist anywhere in the universe. Basically, nothing would even exist. Let's look at some of these mathematical equations and how they've been finely tuned. You might want to bring out your calculator for this. We start with the force of gravity. The force of gravity is determined by the gravitational constant. And if the constant varied by 1 in 10 to the power of 60, the universe could have expanded or thinned out so rapidly that no stars, no planets, or no life could have formed anywhere. Another equation is the expansion rate of the universe. The expansion rate of the universe is determined by the cosmological constant. And if this constant varied by just 1 in 10 to the power of 120, the universe would have expanded too rapidly or too slowly, and there will be no life in the universe as a result of this. Another mathematical equation is the mass and energy ratio. If the ratio of mass and energy of the early universe were not evenly distributed to the ratio of 1 in 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 123, the universe would not even support life at all. And there are many other mathematical equations and physical constants guiding the universe. These numbers are almost incomprehensible. Let me use an easier example which might not come close to the mathematical equations. Imagine for you to win $100 million in a competition, you had to score 100%. But you ended up scoring 99.999999, about 60 or 120 or 1,000 numbers after the decimal points. You wouldn't even win $0 because you failed at getting exactly 100%. This is how huge the stakes are, but yet it falls short of the realities that exist. Because we are talking about life and the sustainability of life in the universe, which is another proof for intelligent design. The origin of life and the sustainability of life in the universe. When you look at one of the basic structures of life, like DNA, and the fact that it carries vital information that ensures the existence of living species, there is no better way to explain this than intelligent design. Let's understand what this means. Imagine that for a single DNA, the letters are arranged A, T, C, and G. A, T, C, and G. And it's repeated over 1,000,000 times with no single error. It will be hard to believe. Now imagine that it was arranged in this formula. A, T, C, and G. T, C, G, and A. And going on with this adjusted formula, we would find it hard to wrap our mind around this. But now imagine that these letters were randomly arranged but communicated vital information to the existence of every living organism. This is not possible in any other way than through intelligent design. And here is a reasonable proof for this. If you were to pick up your phone, open a messaging app, close your eyes, and randomly type for about 1 minute, and you open your eyes to see that you have typed a full sentence as a reply to a previous message from a friend or colleague, that is logically, rationally impossible. Yes, there are people who are able to type out a message without looking at the keyboard. But it is impossible to type out an accurate response to a message you had no idea about. And even if you can type out a message without looking at your screen, it is because you have learnt it. And learning is a sign of intelligence. Still speaking on the origin of life, its sustainability, and the fine-tuning of the universe and the earth we live in, here are some things to note. The gravitational force of the earth and the earth's perfect size allows it to have an atmosphere. Animals and humans breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, while plants breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. This is good for the sustainability of life here on Earth. Also, the Earth happens to be located in a place that is referred to as the Goldilocks zone. Astronomers, scientists, they estimate that if the Earth was 2% away from its location, whether farther or closer to the sun, the water on Earth will either evaporate quickly or freeze up quickly, which will mean there will be no liquid water on Earth to sustain life on Earth. Another very important point to note is that another planet in our solar system, Jupiter, the size of this planet and its orbit around the sun makes it a cosmic vacuum cleaner. And what this means is that it prevents asteroids and other things flying around in space from colliding with Earth. The gravitational pull of this planet draws like a magnet all of these asteroids and blocks them from hitting the Earth, because a collision from any of these asteroids or space debris would definitely affect life on Earth. Even the atmosphere of Earth exists in a way that it burns up small asteroids that might try to find its way to the surface of the Earth. Let's look at another scientific argument, and this is the cosmological evidence. Some might know it as the Kalam Cosmological Argument. And we can look at this argument from a scientific and a philosophical angle. But let's start with the scientific angle. The Kalam Cosmological Argument has this premise. Premise 1. Whatever begins to exist has a cause. Premise 2. The universe began to exist. Conclusion. Therefore, the universe has a cause. Let's look at it one after the other. Whatever begins to exist has a cause. Believing that something can pop into existence without a cause is much more unrealistic than believing in magic. At least if you believe in magic, you believe in the magician's power of illusion or a supernatural ability. We have never observed something coming from nothing. Everyday experiences and scientific evidences support premise 1. So let's look at premise 2. The universe began to exist. In our origin series, the Big Bang Theory, from expansion to the echoes of the cosmic dawn, and the next episode, Origin, the Big Bang Theory, objections, questions, and the case for something more, we have seen that the universe definitely had a beginning. You can go back and listen to it. The Big Bang Theory is a widely accepted scientific explanation for how the universe originated, and it clearly suggests that the universe definitely had a beginning. Since premise 1 and premise 2 are correct, it's right to come to the conclusion that the universe had a cause. The universe cannot cause itself to exist, because for the universe to cause itself to exist, it also needs to be in existence. But that would mean the universe has eternally been in existence in times past. Therefore, the origin of the universe must exist outside the universe itself. It must be spaceless, timeless, immaterial, and unimaginably powerful. This, together with all the other scientific arguments, the fine-tuning arguments, and the origin of life and its sustainability in the universe, suggests an intelligent designer. Let's put a pause here, and in another episode, we'll look at the Kalam Cosmological Argument from a philosophical angle. We'll look at other philosophical arguments and a theological argument for the case of intelligent design. Thank you so much for listening to the end of this episode. Please remember to give this episode a like. Drop your comments if you have questions. If you know some other scientific arguments supporting the case of intelligent design, put that in the comment section as well. Remember to share this episode and this entire podcast with your friends, with your family. Share it on your social media status. Thank you so much once again, and keep listening to AJ Sports with Ezekarel.